Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Village of Bartlett Committee of the Whole meeting for August 15, 2023. I call this meeting to order and again ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Daney?
Yes, here.
Gansey?
Here.
GUNSTEEN?
Here.
Hopkins?
Here.
LAPORTE?
Here.
Sawanski?
Present.
President Wallace.
Here. First item we have on the committee meeting under Building and Zoning Committee, Chairman GUNSTEEN.
Thank you, President Wallace. Tonight, we have the discussion regarding short-term home rentals. A property rented for less than 30 days is a use that is not listed within the Village Municipal Code. The village has at least 5 properties that are advertised as short-term rentals and received several complaints regarding one of the properties. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to staff for some information on that.
Thank you, Trustee Gunstein. Short-term rentals is a new use that our zoning ordinance that was established in 1978 didn't really anticipate happening. We've surveyed communities through the
It
Northwest.
was just for relatives you didn't want staying very long, right? And you weren't getting any rent.
Right?
Yeah.
So we surveyed other municipalities to see if they're doing they've updated their ordinances, how they're handling it, because most ordinances are not going to have short-term rentals as a consideration. Based on the survey results, it really varies in the area. Some towns consider it a permitted use. Some towns prohibit it. They consider it prohibited even if it's not listed. Some have adopted ordinances outright prohibiting it. Others have decided to allow it, provided you have some additional conditions on it as more of a licensing regulation, not necessarily zoning regulation. So as Trustee Gunstein said, we had about 5 that we were able to find on the popular websites. The village has received complaints about one of them. The complaints that we've received from the Planning and Development Services have been after the fact, so we can't verify if there are parking concerns. The issues they said were that there were parties, there was overnight parking. The police department has not had any tickets written around those properties, so we're not able to verify it. But we just wanted to get some direction from the board to see what thoughts there were, if anything needed to be addressed, or if we can just leave things the way they are.
May I ask, when I went through these, what years were those complaints made?
The complaints have been this year.
They've all been from this year? Okay.
And all from one property.
Right.
Yes. I would say it's 2 neighbors that have called at different points throughout the summer.
Are they noise disturbances?
The complaints we've mainly gotten is regarding parking.
Okay. So, do any of the trustees have?
Yeah, my concern was just if we could address it and see if we had anything in our code, which at the time I think we said we didn't. And then if you all could find out, or if you had any way to find out how many issues we have, which you have addressed, thank you very much. It doesn't seem like there's really enough issues here to make this a project.
I agree.
I think 5 houses out of 13,000 houses. I mean, what if we just keep it as is?
That's fine. That's fine. We just wanted to start the conversation.
I mean, we issue parking tickets, we issue noise disturbance tickets. If a young group rents it for a weekend, I mean, it's going to be a noise disturbance ticket. You're going to have it.
My thought is we at least make them get a business license so we know where these places are. I think that's important. I know when we have renters in our town, they have to change their water bill, so the village is aware that they are renting, and it did change. There's a different owner there, so I think we need to know where they're at least. So I don't believe in like a lot of these communities are making them do inspections. I do not want staff to do inspections on these places, but pulling a business license, they're operating a business, so.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, just because when you go to rent these places, you have to give them a credit card. Nobody takes cash that I know of, VRBO or Airbnb. I don't think anybody takes cash. So you're using a credit card, and you're also putting all of your information in there, and you're including your phone number. So if we really had an incident, we'd be able to contact whoever it was that was renting it.
How quick could we find that information, Chief?
you're talking about like Airbnb or those other sites, we'd probably have to go through those companies. So I don't know if there's a legal standard, if we'd have to get a subpoena or not.
Right.
Generally, that's how it works for like getting like phone records unless there's some type of exigent circumstances.
Well, could
But
you,
there would be somebody accountable. I know it makes me nervous when I'm renting stuff from my kids, if you need a credit card, right? So, I just think it's too early to require a business license for everybody that's doing Airbnb.
And utilities don't get changed. If you own the house and you're renting it out, the utilities stay in your name under 30 days anyways. So if I rent an Airbnb, I'm not paying a portion of the water bill,
Yeah.
so.
It sounds like there's only 5.
from the, you could get that information from the homeowner also, couldn't you?
Yeah, they better know who's staying there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's where it becomes, if there's an incident, you're not going to have the contact information for these residents. So if there is a problem, it could take days to get a hold of the owners of this house. So one of them, I think, lived out of state. So it's just one way to keep track, but you're right, it's 5 houses, it's not.
We
Make or
do
break.
have, like with water billing, whoever, we do have a phone number associated with every address. So the police department would have access to what we have in Munis.
Let me ask you a different question. Is there a way to make money on this if people start renting their homes out?
There are some that are collecting the, like, hotel motel tax.
Yeah.
They're assessing it on that.
Yeah. I think that's a better idea.
Do you have any
But then
idea?
we have to,
Do you have any idea why these people were renting their homes, for what activities in town, or do you,
So,
or what occurred,
Weddings,
or
I
what
mean-
occurred around that time here in the village?
So for 2 of them that are advertised, it's just renting out like a room. It's not even renting out the entire house. They're just renting out a room here and there. Maybe it's someone that, I know, like, I believe it was Winfield said that they have a lot of people that when there's someone in the hospital, they choose to rent out a house for a while. The one police report we had, they were renting the house out to film some sort of social media videos. But we don't know what the purpose is. I mean, we only had one police report filed, so.
We see a sample. You might want to get a business license if that's the case.
So it's not to use the ski hill at Villa Olivia, or play 18 holes at Bartlett Hills, or,
All right.
yeah, let's.
Well, the information staff put together was really helpful, and it's nice to have that at
Thank
least
you.
on file.
I think what would make me a little bit more at ease too, instead of having it reverse, like if we have incidents at Airbnbs that are being rent out, if we can have that brought to our attention before somebody, complains, that would be good. Because it's probably going to grow, and more people are doing this with their homes, so,
Yeah, this gives us a good starting point.
yeah, I agree, good job.
Any other questions from the board? All right, so we'll send this back to staff just to monitor it and visit it again down the line.
Perfect.
That's all I have to report today.
Thank you, Chairman Gunstein. Finance Committee, Chairman LaPorte.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've got one item here. Staff was asked to provide an analysis of costs along with the details pertaining to hiring a full-time entry-level employee versus bringing in a contract IT person to meet our needs for assisting the village staff with end-user information technology demands and requirements for completing essential tasks and processes. For discussion only, I can turn it over to Janelle if she wants to expound on it.
Thank you, Trustee Laporte. So I did put together a memo with the help of Chris Hostetler regarding the information that was asked to provide to you as a board. So we looked at the cost of hiring a full-time employee, which if calculated, the hourly rate of $29.97 per hour multiplied by 2080 hours for full-time staff came to a salary of $62,338. We budget $21,930 per year per employee for benefits for a total of $84,271. So that would be the cost for us to hire someone at that hourly rate, plus benefits. Chris was able to contact two different vendors for contract employee services. The first was a Sierra Group. They quoted a rate anywhere from $42 an hour to $50 an hour. And so if we calculate just at the lowest rate of the $42 an hour, it would be $87,360 per year. And then Heartland contract employees would be $105 an hour, so I don't even think we want to entertain that. So those are just the costs, but I did want to address also the benefits to hiring a full-time staff member. I think you can look out at our staff and you can see that a lot of us have been here for a long time. And so, you know, the board always looks at us to build our bench. And so bringing in an entry-level employee to this position would help us do that. And they would be invested and committed to our organization based on the fact that they may have a long-term growth opportunity. So they're looking at it as a career advancement proposition for themselves. And it also benefits us because it provides us stability and continuity when it comes to ever-changing technology. We have a great group of technology staff already. To add to that team, it just provides more stability in terms of processes and systems. The police department alone requires such continuity in services because of all of the technology that they use, the in-car laptops, the iPads, the in-car cameras that we're going to have, the body cams and things like that. So just in order for them to have that stability, if we hire a contract employee, they may not stay with us. Contract employees oftentimes will take an assignment, and then after a year, they move on. Especially for an entry-level position, they look at it as more of a stepping stone for a contract employee. Whereas if we build that bench here, they'll stay with us, or the probability of them staying with us is greater. Also, they would be integrated into our culture. So I don't know if any of you ever had the privilege of meeting Rishi. She's no longer our help desk person because she moved it full-time into GIS, but she built a great rapport with our staff. And so it's just that part of our culture that we look for in terms of like just developing those relationships and people being comfortable. Chris and John do an amazing job of working with our staff, but at the higher level, their tasks are often, you know, working on higher issues or, you know, more complex issues. We're looking for a help desk person to, you know, help people with laptops or iPads. And so just building that relationship and providing that continuity. So we see a benefit as more benefit to bringing on a full-time staff member, but we wanted to present to you all of the facts per your request. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
I have a question. So this sounds like an entry-level person helping with troubleshooting for people. How will the higher-level positions change? They really won't.
And right now, it's been really difficult because we've rolled out the new software system. So here comes Chris. Look at that. But so they're continuing to work on the complex issues, and then the help desk person is really going to take away the day-to-day tasks. Chris and John have been rolling out the new systems and then also helping people with the day-to-day operations with troubleshooting technology. John had a stack of the new iPads in his office, and he's been setting up appointments to meet with people to get those rolled out. So in addition to rolling out the new software and helping employees learn those systems, he's been doing that as well. So the help desk person really like starts the ball rolling, but then they deal with the more complex issues. And I don't know, Chris, if you wanted to address any of that or.
Yeah, I would just say that, well, just to recap, we've had, prior to now, we had two full-time GIS at one time before I took over GIS. And when we had to refill that position, we actually made it a part-time IT tech and a part-time GIS tech because we were hurting so much for IT help. What we came to realize because of our success with GIS, that we really needed two full-time GIS people. So rather than try to get our part-time GIS, well, not part-time, but our half GIS, our hybrid position to be one or the other, we moved that person to GIS because they were doing so well there. Richie, which they're talking about, Richie, who everyone loved for her help desk skills. She's a very friendly person and very outgoing, so built a big rapport. So we went ahead and did that, especially since we just had Steve Spradling, who was kind of our GIS lead, recently leave. So we kind of were forced to move her to be full-time GIS, had to backfill the position. Fortunately, we hire interns every year, and we hire very good interns, and one of them was available, had just graduated. So we were able to bring them in, and they already had experience with us. So that left us now, we don't even have our half-time IT person, and we were already down, I felt like a half-time person. So this is to kind of give us that extra help we need in the help desk area. You know, I think we do a pretty good job of managing the myriad of systems that we have. But one of the things we really struggle with some is supporting our police department. They're a 24-hour operation. Our people, because we all have families, we tend to work business hours, which leaves them from the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift, having to call us. We would like to hire this part-time person. It won't be initially, they won't be able to work these hours, but eventually they'll be able to work a shift that covers part of their nighttime shift, which will really be good for them to have someone there physically in person. Because a lot of the work we do with the police is physical. They've got squad cars, they're out, they're in, we gotta go out to the cars to troubleshoot issues. So it's a very physical, in-person kind of thing. It's not someone you can call up and have them help desk in. So we're looking to provide that support. The other thing that we could really use some help in is, we're good at managing our systems and doing those kind of things, but one of the things we really don't have time for, and I wish we had more time for, is in-house training of staff. Especially now that we're implementing Office 365. There are so many tools and so many ways of collaborating, so many more things we could do. And we're working on that implementation, but it's difficult. And the thing that I'm struggling with is, how can I train these people to really make use of all this? So this is why we're looking for a part-time entry level. And the reason I'm looking for an entry level is because, a lot of the things, particularly in the police department, aren't things you're going to encounter in the private sector. You're not going to see that software and that hardware in the private sector. So even if you come in with some IT skills, you still have to learn all those systems to be able to really support them. And Richie's been here 4 years, 5 years. And it took her, a good 2.5 years to really become someone who could just go take care of it. And when you train a new person, it takes mine and John's time to go and help them do that. So I want an entry-level person so we can kind of, one, grow them in. One, we could get them cheap because they're entry-level. Two, most people that come to work for the Village of Bartlett like working here. I think we make a really positive work environment here. We have a group of people that really work well together across all departments. So they're less likely to leave. Contract employees, again, like Janelle said, they're looking at this as a contract. They're not looking at this as a long-time career versus bringing somebody in at the entry level who says, this could be a career for me. This is a great place to work. So sorry, I got long-winded there, but I wanted to give some background.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Thank you.
Where does that salary fall in the marketplace? So we compared it to the consultants. Where does the $85,000, $84,000?
What's an entry-level salary for the person we're hiring?
$62,338. Every year I run a comparable study based on external comparabilities that we've selected carefully based on some parameters that were set up. And it's a list of 15 communities that we use. And then we also look at internal comparability as well in terms of, where that position would lie. So that's where we found that to be accurate, most accurate.
What were the requirements? I'm assuming they have a bachelor's at least?
No.
No?
Honestly, I think the days of requiring somebody to have a bachelor's degree is kind of, you don't go to school to learn, you learn computer science, but you don't go to school to be a help desk technician. These are people that are, either community college where they have more technical, or they seek out technical training on their own. And I'll be honest with you, we test people when we hire them, whether it's a GIS intern or a GIS position. We create an environment, we create a series of tests, and we put them through them to really see what their aptitude is.
Yeah. Good.
We're good on training. We can train people, but what we need is somebody who's got the right personality and has aptitude. That's what's really important.
Okay.
What were the hours of the full-time or part-time? I didn't hear that.
The full-time would be, the 40 hours a week. The previous position, and I misspoke, I said part-time. They were a full-time position doing part-time GIS, part-time IT.
Okay.
I think it's a good hire.
Agree.
Thanks for going through that exercise with us. It's important for us. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you, Mr. Laporte, Chairman Laporte. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Gunstein. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
I haven't seen some of,
We are adjourned.
I haven't seen some of you.